Hey family, time to chat again. If this is your first time here, hello, my name is Jasmine. I am a registered nurse of 14 years and an entrepreneur of 9 years, and I call myself a nursepreneur. It is Nurses Week, so I had to drop some content regarding nursing. Today, I am going to go in detail and tell you why I have chosen not to go to grad school. This video is not to discourage anybody who has desires to go to grad school. There is no problem with that. It is just not what I feel is best for me, and that's okay too. I currently hold a Bachelor's of Science degree in nursing. That is my only degree, and I plan to make it do what it do. I know that nurses who work at the graduate level are excellent care providers. I am not discouraging or dissing their role. When I first became a registered nurse, my plan was to return to grad school within 3 years. And as I gained experience and started seeing more graduate level nurses and understanding their role and what it looked like, I realized that it isn't the best fit for me and what I envision for my life. Firstly, I do not want to go back to college. Undergrad whooped my ass. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. Anytime someone comes to me and they tell me they're going back to school for nursing or they want to become a nurse, I get a little cringe of anxiety because I remember how stressful that was for me. I was so stressed out that my hair would fall out. Like, nursing school is where I learned that I have anxiety. Most specifically, I have test-taking anxiety. Even when I have to do some modules for work now, or have to do like an EKG exam or a dosage calculation exam when I'm starting a new travel assignment, anxiety flares right back up. I don't want nothing to do with it. When people think of a nurse going to grad school, they commonly think of becoming a nurse practitioner. It is one of the most common routes that nurses take. However, it is not the only option. There is the nurse practitioner, clinical nurse specialist, there is a certified nurse midwife, there is a certified registered nurse anesthetist, and then there are MSNs in leadership, so education, public health, informatics. None of those are appealing to me. As for becoming a nurse practitioner, I realize I don't want the role of being a provider. I don't want to be the primary care provider. I don't want to treat, diagnose, prescribe. I really don't want that responsibility. I think it sounds nice. I think it's, it's an important role, but for me, I don't want that responsibility on me. I do have friends who have become nurse practitioners. Family nurse practitioner and psych nurse practitioner are very popular right now. Family nurse practitioners, a lot of them start off working in urgent care, minute clinics, under doctors. And from what I'm being told, it's not the best working environments. A lot of stress, a lot of paperwork. It just doesn't sound appealing to me. That is not the only route. A lot of nurse practitioners also have the ability to open their own care facilities. Some of them get into nurse aesthetics and they do the cute stuff like Botox and laser hair removal and things like that. There are some NPs who do telehealth. That's very big for nurse practitioners to do telehealth virtually, and they work from home. I never wanted anything to do with leadership, management. I don't even want to be charge nurse. I don't like nothing like that. I want to be responsible for me and my patient, not solving the problems of the unit. I'm not interested in education. I don't want to be a professor. I don't want to teach the new nurses or the student nurses. That is not my ministry. Nurse midwife, I think that's very cute. I love that idea that nurses are able to be there with you delivering babies. I think that's wonderful, but I've never had any interest in mother baby. It's just not for me. The one that I was interested in is Certified Registered Nurse Anesthetist, also known as CRNA. I was most interested in this for the income. Truth be told, it was the income. They make significantly a lot more than a registered nurse, probably, in some cases twice as much as a registered nurse. However, the schooling required to become a CRNA is crucial. They tell me that it's 3 times harder than undergrad nursing school. So that's an immediate no. I couldn't even imagine going through stress like that. That program is so rigorous that you're not allowed to work. You do earn a stipend, but for the most part, people are usually being provided for by, a spouse, or they stay at home with their parents or whatever. But it's a struggle for 2 years or so. And you have to be willing to move across the country to the program that accepts you. So it's not an easy, quick fix to get into. And it's a lot of responsibility. You're keeping this patient alive while they're in surgery. So you have to manage your labs, you have to manage their breathing. Like, it's a lot to think about and to manage. I don't really want to do that much. I do like the income though. So I almost started the process of doing it, but I gave it up. It's okay. Maybe in another lifetime. Maybe if I had a spouse, maybe if I had a wealthy family behind me, I might do it. But I can't go not working. I can't even put myself through that mental torment. Hell no. That program indeed has a lot of testing, indeed has a lot of math, and I don't want nothing to do with either one. Just because you go to grad school does not mean you earn more money than an ADN or a BSN registered nurse. You can, but not always. And if I'm going to go to college for $60,000, I need a significant increase in income. There are a lot of nurse practitioners who still pick up shifts as registered nurses, and that is very telling. I used to be a CNA, a nurse's assistant. I'm not picking up shifts as a nursing assistant. You picking up what I'm putting down? It doesn't seem financially worth it for me. They also often take their work home with them. I don't like that. When I swipe my badge, I want to be out. I want to be able to turn it off in my mind. I don't want anybody calling me while I'm home. That's it. At the MSN level, especially if you're a nurse practitioner, you are able to open up your own care facilities and your own practices, and that has a lot of earning potential, but also a lot of responsibility, a lot of liability. You can earn a lot of money for sure. There are ways. You have to get creative with it. Be willing to open your own practice and get approved for all of these programs of specialists and Medicaid and Medicare and things like that. Or you have an affluent clientele. You do maybe like an IV nurse. So there are ways to make a lot of money, but it's not guaranteed. And I need to guarantee that if I go to grad school for $60,000, I need to see a significant increase of like at least $50,000 more a year. I don't think I'm asking for too much. Also, another thing about that is some of these roles as an MSN, a lot of them are salary. I don't like the idea of salary because a lot of times you're working more than 40 hours. My 312s, I'm out. But the salary, you taking it home, you got to open up your laptop, you got to send emails, you got to do things, paperwork. No. I have been working PRN for the last 10 years. I haven't had a full-time job in 10 years. I am a PRN princess. I love that for me. I need the flexibility. We are currently, as I'm recording this, we are currently in the month of April, and I've already taken 4 weeks off from work. Nobody is going to approve this much PTO. By the end of the year, I would have probably taken about 10 to 12 weeks off. Nobody's going to approve that much PTO. And I just can't do the salary thing. You can negotiate it. You can negotiate the amount of PTO you get off. I understand that. But primarily, you know how the American system is. You get 2 weeks off a year. That doesn't work for me. Not one bit, not at all. Now, in the nursing space, there are still things you can do to further your career without grad school. You can always climb the management ladder: charge nurse, nurse supervisor, nurse manager, nurse director. You can also get certified in specialties. For example, I have been meaning to study to become a certified critical care registered nurse, and it's on my list of to-do things for like the last 10 years, and I just never got around to it. But there is a pay incentive to it. You can negotiate your wage a lot higher if you are certified in, anything: oncology, med surg, psych, whatever your department is or your specialty that you like, you can get certified in it, and there's a pay increase for that. My plan is to use my one and only degree and make it work. The money I earn as a registered nurse, I have learned different ways to invest it. I've learned ways to build other businesses, and I think that has been more profitable for me and what I envision my life to be personally. So instead of getting a master's degree, I pay for training courses and education that will teach me how to increase my income, because college isn't the only way to make money. For example, I paid for business coaching, which has helped me scale my businesses as an entrepreneur. I paid for stock investment courses, which have taught me how to invest my income as a registered nurse into the stock market and see it grow passively without me having to work for it. Currently, I'm in a course to teach me how to trade stock options, and I've also been educating myself in the real estate space. I don't plan to become a realtor, but I have a retirement plan cooking up. And I think it's important for everybody to learn how to make money on their own without their employer, because nobody's job is guaranteed forever. Anything could happen. The world could fall apart again. We could be on lockdown again. AI could take your job. How can you make money on your own? You got laid off, you got injured. I think that is an invaluable skill. I don't care if you braid hair, if you paint walls, if you rake leaves, I don't care what it is. If you can learn a skill, or you have a skill that can replace your employer, I think you're in a great spot. I think that's an invaluable education. Because remember, if nobody told you this before, remember you heard it from Jasmine. As an entrepreneur, you have the potential to earn more than you'll ever earn as an employee. When you take a job, there is a salary, a wage that is there. It's not going to turn around in a month and become $1 million. It's not. It's not going to turn around next month and double. It's not. But as an entrepreneur, your income is unlimited. You could become a multimillionaire as an entrepreneur, not as an employee. Unless you're, of course, a CEO of a Fortune 500 company or something like that. But for the most part, no. You're not going to become a millionaire off your employer. So that's why I'm a nursepreneur. Again, this video was not to discourage anybody from going to grad school, but also to think about yourself, think about the role, think about what it really requires of you to be in these roles, and choose what's best for you. I think nurse practitioners are awesome. One of my care providers is a nurse practitioner, and she's amazing. I feel like they look at the patient and look at healthcare problems differently. They look at it as a whole patient. They're not just like, here's your symptoms, here's the medication. I just don't want that role, and that's okay too. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you like it, subscribe, and share it to anybody who you know is considering going to grad school as a registered nurse. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.